Hello battlers, Bloody Bananas here. Welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going to showcase 3 new budget teams that I think will be very good in the upcoming season of Season 8. As Season 7 is ending, I hope all of you battlers have reached or achieved the goals that you had in mind before the season started. And if you didn't, that's fine, because there's always a new season, right? And we're always trying to improve, and we're trying to reach our goal in the upcoming new season, which is going to be Season 8. And if you're just getting into PvP and you don't have tons of resources, I definitely recommend checking out the rest of the video for some team recommendations that are not super expensive to build, but can definitely compete against some of the stronger teams in the meta. So here we're looking to build fun and cheap teams, widely available Pokemon generally, while also being competitive, right? Because we're still trying to win these games. Alright, so what is considered a budget Pokemon? In my definition of a budget Pokemon is, first of all, it doesn't require 75,000 dust to unlock a second charge move, because 75,000 dust is a pretty hefty amount for a lot of us, right? Especially for the players that are just getting into PvP. Second of all, does not need to max out to level 40 plus. As we all know, that requires tons of resources to build an XL Pokemon, especially if it goes up to level 50. It requires a ton of time for those XL candies and dusts, right? And thirdly, not legendary Pokemon, because a lot of the legendary Pokemon are currently not in rotation right now, so it's hard to have access to a lot of the legendary Pokemon. For example, something like Defense from Deoxys, right? And fourth bullet point, does not require community or legacy move. If you're just getting into PvP, you probably didn't play in the past community days, and maybe you didn't have a legacy move because it was only available for a very short amount of time. So we're just looking into some of the Pokemon that don't require you to play in the past at a specific time, right? And then fifthly, commonly spawns in the wild, or they're easily accessible through eggs. Alright, so first team here, I think this is probably the best team to use out of all 3. It's super spammy. It's kind of meta, right? Because all 3 Pokemon, we actually see a lot of them in the current meta already. We have Alolan Ninetales with Powder Snows as fast move, generates energy super fast. And then we have Weather Ball Ice and Psyshock. You could use Dazzling Gleam instead of the Psyshock. And then we have Politoed with Mudshot and Weather Ball Water, and then Blizzard. And then we have Vigoroth with Counter, Body Slam. And then Bulldoze is optional, because you don't really need to use Bulldoze for a lot of Pokemon. Generally, you only use one charge move, which is the Body Slam. And someone brought this up to me after I built all the teams, that Vigoroth actually costs 75,000 dust to unlock a second charge move. That's why I'm putting Bulldoze as optional for now. It's really not necessary for a lot of the matchups. So if you don't want to afford the dust to build to have a second charge move, that's totally fine for Vigoroth. As you guys can see on the right side, we have PvPoke ratings for this team. It's rated very high, very consistent. You have 3 Pokemon that spams charge moves extremely fast and has very good coverage and very decent stats. The strategy is very simple. It's just spammy, and you want to throw a ton of charge moves to pressure health and shields. And a lot of times you really want to aggressively swap so you can get energy leads in a lot of those neutral matchups, and then you can do a lot of maneuvering around even tough matchups, right? And then we're going to talk about some rich meta alternatives. If you have the resource, then you could consider these following Pokemon. If you have Medicham XL Pokemon, sure, go for it. It's going to be very good here. Sableye, also, if you have the XL, it will be very nice. Or if you had the Hundo, it still costs a lot to build, but it's definitely worth it. Very strong Pokemon. Mew with the Surf of Wild Charge, I think will be also very good to cover for Alolan Ninetales' weaknesses, which is going to be Fire and Steel, right? And then if you have elite TMs, or if you had a Politoed with Earthquake, then definitely go with the Earthquake because you can hit Azumarill and much better, right? All right. I definitely like this team a lot. It's very strong, and like I said, you don't need the Bulldoze. If you have the resource, then definitely go for it, and it's a very strong Pokemon to have, right? Second team I have is Obstagoon with counter Gunk Shot, Nice Slash, and then Haunter, Shadow Claw with 2 charge moves. Hits very hard. And then we have our safe swap of Pelipper with Wind Attack, Weather Ball, and Hurricane. So the strategy is actually also very simple. You have 2 covers for fairies and fighters in the back. And as you guys can see, we have a lot of nuke moves. We have Gunk Shot, we have Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, we have Hurricane. So a lot of times you want to get those shields down. Once you get the shields down, your Haunter with shields can definitely finish a lot of the matchups in the end game. It's not very bulky, as you guys can see from the PV poke rating. Coverage C, bulk is D, but then you have safety consistency as B. Altaria is super tough for this line, but besides Altaria, I think this team has a very good play against the meta, and Obstagoon Haunter is a very solid core. It's a little bit squishy, but I think it's very solid, and especially with the upcoming poison buff, Haunter is going to be very good against a lot of those poison Pokemon, right? And if you have more access, then here are some alternatives. You could have Venusaur for those fighting coverages against Obstagoon, or as a charm answer, right? And then you could use Cresselia. Again, it answers fighting in the lead, and it could also beat the Charmers, right? And then Galarian Stunfisk. Honestly, you could use Galarian Stunfisk pretty much anywhere, and it will be a pretty solid team because it's just a very solid Pokemon, right? So I like this team a lot. It's definitely going to be less consistent from compared to the first line, but I think this team is super fun to play because you have a lot of nuke moves, and it will be very satisfying if you can land these moves. But if your opponent has very bulky Pokemon and it becomes hard to take them down, that could be an issue for this team, right? But generally, I think this team is decently well-rounded and can definitely do very well. And these Pokemon are pretty widely available generally. Haunter, I think a lot of people have a Haunter already or have some kind of Ghastly, and all you have to do is evolve it. Obstagoon, there's Zigzagoons everywhere right now. You can get them from tasks, field research tasks, or you can get them from eggs. And then Pelipper, it's a very common Pokemon, right? And these are relatively cheap to build. Alright, next up, alright, this team is a meta call because at the time of making this video, some of the moves are not, haven't been changed. But when the new season starts, some of the moves are going to be changed, and I'm talking about Alolan Muck with Poison Jab, and Acid Spray. So Poison Jab is going to have higher damage in the upcoming season, and then Acid Spray will have lower energy cost. So I really like this Pokemon for the upcoming meta. I think it has a pretty good play, right? So this team consists of Scrafty with counter, Power Punch, and Foul Play. And then we have a Granbull. It could be any kind of Charmer. I'm using a Shadow Granbull because I don't have the regular Granbull, but the regular Granbull will do just as fine. Or if you want to use a different kind of a Charm user, that's also fine. I just like Granbull as a finisher because close combat can hit back against the steals, right? And then we have a Amok as a safe swap with Poison Jab, Acid Spray, and Dark Pulse. So this is actually a ABB line. You want to use Alolan Muck to bait out a Steel type Pokemon. And then you're just sacrificing the Alolan Muck and the Scrafty. You want to take down the Steel type with Scrafty. And then you want to gain shield advantage as much as possible with your Alolan Muck safe swap. And then Granbull up a shield in the end game can definitely finish their entire team, depending on what their team is, right? As long as they don't have a hard answer to a Charm user, then Granbull in the end game with 2 shields can definitely do very well. Again, we have some Richmond alternatives. Jellicent would fit very well with this team as well. It's a very solid core for Granbull. Galvantula is very nice. It fits very well with Scrafty. And then defense from Deoxys is also very, very solid as a core for Granbull or any charm user. So you could definitely consider these Pokemon as well. Again, this is not a very bulky team, right? But the whole strategy revolves around having shield advantage and then having a charm user, preferably Granbull, in the end game to finish off their entire team. So I do have some footage recorded for all three of these teams against some very, very top battlers. I'm talking about people that finished above 3500s in the current season, and I'm talking about people who have been #1 on the leaderboard before, people who have been top 10. These are some insane battlers, but I'm gonna put them in a separate video. I think I did 3 battles against each of the 4 opponents. Shout out to them, and yeah, I'm definitely going to put out that video very soon after this one, and I hope you guys check that out. Some very, very good battles, and I definitely go over some of the strategies you want to use with this team. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.